All right, let's talk about what happened with GPT-5. In August of 2025, OpenAI dropped what everyone thought would be its biggest, best AI ever. But instead of a huge celebration, they got a massive user revolt, like almost overnight. So, what happened? What went so wrong? And really, what does this whole mess tell us about where AI is headed?
And that's really the big question we're tackling today. I mean, how does a launch this huge for a product that something like 700 million people use every single week, how does it just completely go off the rails so incredibly fast? It's actually a super interesting story about tech, about what we expect as users, and about this new kind of power struggle between the people who make AI and, well, all of us who use it.
Okay, so to really get why everyone was so upset, you first got to understand what OpenAI promised. See, they weren't just pushing out another new model. They were selling a whole new idea, a new philosophy for how we're all supposed to talk to our AI.
So August 7th rolls around and OpenAI pulls the curtain back on GPT-5. They called it their smartest, fastest, most useful model ever. And the marketing was bold. They basically said, this isn't just an upgrade, this is the version of ChatGPT. The idea was that it was so good, it would be the single default model for every single person, from free users all the way up to big companies. No more confusion, just one AI to rule them all.
And the launch day promises, they were huge. I mean, they were throwing out some incredible numbers. A 45% drop in hallucinations or factual errors compared to GPT-4o, the best coding model they'd ever built. And these new agent-like skills where it could actually do stuff for you. But maybe the biggest promise was that it was going to be for everyone, including free users. The message was crystal clear. Here's a smarter, safer AI, and it's for everybody. Now, the core of this whole new vision was something they called the model router. You know how for years you kind of had to pick which model to use? Like, is this a simple question for the fast model, or do I need the smart one for this? Well, OpenAI wanted to get rid of that choice altogether. Their new system would just automatically figure it out. It'd look at your prompt and decide for you whether you needed a quick answer or some deep thinking. The goal was for it to be totally seamless, super smart, and just simple.
But yeah, that simplicity, it came with a price tag that nobody saw coming. Almost right away, like within hours of the launch, places like Reddit and Twitter just blew up with complaints. That dream of one perfect, unified system, it pretty much instantly turned into a total nightmare for users. And this quote right here, creatively and emotionally flat, it just nails the core of the issue. The problem wasn't just about bugs or performance. It was emotional. People felt that this new GPT-5 personality was cold, corporate. One user described it as having the energy of an overworked secretary. You know? That fun, engaging, creative partner that so many people had gotten used to. It felt like it had just vanished.
So let's break it down. What exactly went wrong? Well, number one, they got rid of the beloved GPT-4o model from the drop-down menu with absolutely no warning. People felt like their favorite tool was just yanked away from them. And the replacement? It felt cold and detached. That so-called magic router, it was just a black box that took away all the user's control. And on top of all that, for a lot of people, the new model just felt worse. It seemed slower, and the answers were shorter and way less detailed.
This chart really puts it all in perspective. People felt like they traded a warm, creative partner that they could control for this cold, automatic, corporate drone. It's really a classic story, right? A tech company gets so focused on the technical specs that they completely whiff on the human side of the product.
But that's not where the story ends. Not even close. What happened next is honestly just as amazing as the revolt itself. Because OpenAI, facing this tidal wave of criticism, didn't just dig in their heels. No, they actually listened. And they moved fast. Like, shockingly fast. Just look at this timeline. It shows you how crazy fast this all went down. GPT-5 launches on a Thursday. By the weekend, the internet is on fire. And by the next Monday and Tuesday, we're talking just 4 or 5 days later, OpenAI is already rolling out huge fixes. This wasn't some drawn-out corporate apology. This was them changing their product in real time,
basically because users demanded it. And they started with the big one. First thing they did, they brought back GPT-4o for paid users. This was the #1 thing the community was screaming for. Sam Altman even came out and promised that if they ever try to get rid of it again, they'll give everyone plenty of notice. It was a huge direct admission that they'd messed up. But they didn't just stop there. Instead of just scrapping the whole router idea, they fixed it. They made it transparent and gave users control. You could now choose. Auto mode is still the default. It's that smart router if you want it. But now you also have fast mode and thinking mode, which gives all the power users exactly the control they were missing. You can literally tell the AI how you want it to think. And just to prove they were serious, they didn't just add the controls back. They put them on steroids. The usage cap for that super powerful thinking mode for Plus users, it went from a pretty restrictive 200 messages a week to 3,000. That's a 15x increase. A pretty clear signal that they actually want people to use and love these new features. Okay, so the main crisis was over. But it's easy to forget that under all this drama, the GPT-5 launch was actually still full of some really, really big upgrades, stuff that was genuinely game-changing. And yeah, some of these other features were a massive deal. I mean, being able to connect it directly to your Gmail and Google Calendar, that turns ChatGPT from just a chatbot into a real assistant. The upgrades to how it understands voice and images, its multimodality, that was a huge leap. You could even tell the voice mode, hey, can you sound a little warmer or slow down a bit? And it would just do it. Pretty cool. So when you take a step back and look at the whole picture, this whole drama really points to a huge shift in who has the power in AI development. This is maybe one of the clearest examples we've ever seen, where the user community didn't just complain. They actually forced a company worth billions of dollars to slam the brakes and reverse a huge product decision in just a few days. It proves that your feedback, what you like and don't like, is now a massive part of how these things get built. So what are the big takeaways here? Well, first, it's that personality and how it feels to use an AI matters just as much as the raw technical power, maybe even more. Second, trying to make things simple is great, but you can't do it by taking away user control. Finding that perfect balance is going to be the next big challenge in AI design. And finally, the overall trend is obvious. AI is becoming more of an agent. It's moving from being a tool you use to a partner that actually does complex stuff for you. And that leaves us with one last really interesting question to think about. As AI gets woven deeper and deeper into our lives, into our work, into our creative process, is user backlash now the most powerful force shaping where it goes next? If the story of GPT-5's crazy launch week is anything to go by, the answer is probably yes. Thanks for tuning in.